Today we take a closer look at something that has recently shaken the political landscape in South Africa, and more specifically in Gauteng province. Panyaza Lesufi, the Gauteng Premier, has fired back at a controversy that is slowly gripping the attention of citizens from all corners of the country. We are talking about the shocking revelation that the Gauteng government has been paying rent to the tune of R30 million for over 41 government buildings that are lying empty, unused, and in some cases, completely abandoned. This matter has sparked widespread outrage, questions about accountability, and doubts about whether justice will ever be served in such a large and complicated issue. Today, we unpack what has happened, how we got here, and what the future could look like for the people of Gauteng and South Africa as a whole. To understand why this incident has become such a hot topic, we need to step back and understand how public buildings and leases work in South Africa. Over the past 2 decades, various provincial governments, including Gauteng's, have often rented office spaces and buildings from private landlords instead of constructing or maintaining their own public infrastructure. The idea behind this was to make government services more accessible, flexible, and modern. However, this approach also opened up opportunities for waste, corruption, and mismanagement. In many cases, departments rented buildings that they later vacated or never occupied properly, but the contracts remained binding, leading to payments continuing even after the buildings were no longer used. Some leases were signed under dubious conditions where political elites or connected businesspeople benefited from lucrative rental contracts, despite the properties serving no actual purpose. Panyaza Lesufi's administration inherited these issues from previous provincial governments. When he assumed office as Gauteng Premier, he promised to improve transparency and clean up inefficiencies in the province's operations. What we are seeing now, with the R30 million rent scandal, is a result of internal audits and investigations that Lesufi initiated to uncover exactly where money was being wasted or misused. The revelation that 41 buildings were being rented at such a massive cost, despite standing empty, has become a symbol of the kind of systemic mismanagement that many South Africans have been frustrated with for years. These revelations have raised questions about who signed off on these leases, why there were no stronger checks and balances, and how such a large figure could slip under the radar for so long. Lesufi has not taken these findings lightly. He has publicly expressed his frustration and anger about the situation and has vowed that investigations will continue and that action will be taken against those responsible. His decision to launch a full probe into these leases is not just about financial accountability but also about restoring public trust in government institutions. During a recent press briefing, Lesufi stated that the public deserves full transparency and that his administration will not cover up or ignore any evidence of wrongdoing. He has made it clear that forensic investigations will be conducted to determine if any criminal activities were involved in these rental agreements. If there is evidence of corruption, those responsible could face legal consequences. It is important to note that while Lesufi's proactive stance is being welcomed by many, it also puts pressure on his administration to deliver concrete results. The people of Gauteng and broader South Africa have heard promises of clean governance many times before, only to see investigations stall or disappear over time. The real challenge for Lesufi will be ensuring that this probe does not fade into obscurity but leads to tangible action, whether that means cancelling wasteful leases, recovering wasted funds, or holding individuals accountable in court. Political analysts have pointed out that Lesufi's handling of this matter could have long-term implications for his political career and for the ruling African National Congress, ANC, in Gauteng. With general elections approaching, demonstrating a serious commitment to tackling waste and corruption could bolster public confidence in his leadership. On the other hand, if the investigations falter or if key figures avoid accountability, it could deepen public disillusionment and affect voter sentiment. Already, opposition parties have seized on the controversy to criticize the ANC's track record, with some calling for urgent parliamentary inquiries and independent audits. Beyond the political dynamics, the financial implications are serious. R30 million is a significant amount of public money that could have been used to improve service delivery, fund education, fix healthcare facilities, or upgrade infrastructure. For many ordinary South Africans struggling with unemployment, poverty, and poor public services, hearing that millions were spent on empty buildings only adds to their frustrations with government inefficiency. This scandal not only highlights poor financial management but also speaks to the lack of proper oversight and planning in some government departments. Looking to the future, much depends on how thoroughly and transparently the investigations are carried out. If Lesufi's administration can provide clear answers, take decisive action, and show measurable progress in addressing the problem, it could mark a turning point in how the public views provincial governance. It could also set a precedent for other provinces to conduct their own audits and clean up similar issues. On the other hand, if the process drags on with little outcome, it will only fuel more cynicism and frustration. This entire situation brings us to an important conversation about the need for stronger governance systems in South Africa. Citizens are increasingly demanding better oversight, transparency, and accountability from their leaders. The era of unchecked government spending and vague explanations is slowly being challenged by more active civil society groups, investigative journalists, and political opposition. What happens with the R30 million rand scandal could send a clear message about whether or not South African leaders are ready to respond to that demand. Panyaza Lesufi has unleashed a strong response to the shocking R30 million rand scandal rocking Gauteng. Over 41 government buildings, abandoned and left empty, have been quietly draining taxpayer money through continuous rental payments, sparking nationwide outrage. In this video, we break down everything you need to know, how this massive blunder unfolded, what Premier Lesufi is doing about it, and why the public is demanding answers. We explore the deep-rooted issues behind government leases, unpack the historical misuse of funds, and examine the implications for justice, governance, and the ANC's political standing as elections approach. With Lesufi promising tough action and full investigations, the big question remains, will South Africa finally see accountability? Or will this probe fade like many before it? Stay tuned as we bring you the full story, balanced analysis, and future possibilities for Gauteng's governance. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you guys about whether you believe real justice will be served.